Ugh, I have my face is just so shiny. I need to fix that. So one thing. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee with Coffee with Alwonza. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. One thing I'm going to do is go get this shine off my face. Next thing is cut the dishwasher off because it was right at the silencing moment where the heater kicks in, but it's still moving. So I'm going to cut that off. My coffee just finished. I'm going to grab that. But how are you guys doing otherwise this morning? Right? So I am going to do something different, right? There it is. I think that should be it. Um, Morocco shelata likata Morocco shelata. Yana Morocco shelati la Morocco shelata raka shelata. Ana Morocco shelata leli satoroko shel. So yes, I am going to do something a little different right quick on go live with Instagram real quick, just so Moroko Shilaka Tulotu Shilata Oroko Shelet Delata. Let me put this thing on focus before I'm telling you, you would think I am just the way these messages come in. Oroku Shelet Resika Telatalata. I was trying to do something real quick. Um all right, that's what I wanted to do. So I'm trying something new here. And that dishwasher done. So let me grab my coffee, get something to clean up my face, right? And then cut the dishwasher off, coffee, and grab something to do my face, and I'll be right back, guys. So, so I thought my coffee was done. I didn't even press start. So that is something. But we are getting settled, getting in, getting ready. Market. I got on my iPad right here behind me, getting a little settled here. And I am so excited. But you know what, guys? Title of this one is Testimony Time. It's time to testify. Who is Alwonza? Who is Pastor A? Who is Coach A? Right? Like it's time to just do an intro right quick. So that is what I am going to do. And soon as I get a little settled here, let me put already in the group the I didn't even put up a book, but let me show you guys something. This is oh all right, let me leave that one there. Let me grab something for you guys. And this is my first published work. And hi Sophia. And there's something, so I think I might bounce over there. I might actually put it back up on the make it an ebook. So definitely put the links there. I didn't actually put a book up there for you guys in the chat. I didn't do that today. So now my coffee is done. Let me grab that. Let me grab my other handy dandy phone here and check myself out. Make sure all is well, that you guys can hear me. And buka 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 buka. And there we are. Oh, there we are. There we are. We're going deeper. Let me cut it up real quick, guys. Going deeper. All right. Let me cut it up. Sounds like it is good. So if I look over there every now and again, it'll be just checking to make sure that I am good. YouTube is still up and going. Let me grab the coffee right quick. I am so excited. I don't think I need it. I'll pull it back down, but we are about to get started. Hey. Looks like the baby needs to clean her hands. Come here. Come here. All right, guys, I'm still here. Just Sophia, in the name of all that is, guys, I got mess over here. Sorry, guys. I am Sophia number for me this morning with this breakfast. All right. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get started. You gonna get up here? Come on. Okay. So I guess she is. All right. So good morning, guys. Good morning. Let us go ahead and get started. So title is to invite Roku Sheladra Siketela Barata Shelata Roku Sheledre Shikitana Moroko Sheledre Araka Sheledre Fibira Droko Sheledre Fibiketelata Oroko Sheledre Shelebroko Sheledre Fibikata Oroko Sheledre Fifi Shiketa from Moroko Shelete. All right. Mikina Moroko Shelete Fibirata. All right. So the title is Testimony Time. Today I'm going to be talking about who I am, who is Alwonza, who is Pastor A, who is Coach A. So today we have my green coffee cup. I love this color, and in the midst of I'm shifting, moving. I want to move. I'm looking, but at the same time, I'm looking like, how can I work with what I have? I really want to move, but if I move, I will be losing some square footage. And I am really looking at what do I want to let go? What do I not want to take with me? But in that process, I'm also thinking about a new backdrop, a new wall. I want to paint the wall, and this is one of the colors. And these little lines that will be on there, I would like a dark royal blue type consistency with this color green teal, and I hope it's coming through pretty good. It's pretty looks blue to YouTube, but it's a pretty teal, and that is exactly what my backdrop to be. And I want to do some designs, get those little boards from Home Depot or craft stores and just peg them together in little symmetrical or asymmetrical or however I choose that setting, right? So yep, that is exactly what I plan on doing. So that is the update on the moving situation. And let me see, I haven't even had it yet. Let me just take a moment to breathe it in. Coffee. Oh, y'all think it's something to have coffee with A Alwonza. It's something to have coffee with me. This is how I feel about me. I'd be excited to have coffee with me. Amen. Mm-mm-mm. Sometimes I just make the best coffee. And sometimes I think like, oh, I put the right amount of cream in there, right? That milk. Or I put the honey. I just put two things in here. Honey, and I have a flavored milk, you know? And this glass is extremely hot. So let us start again. Testimony time. I am so excited about testimony time. I've been thinking about how I was going to do this for some time now. And today is this is it. This is it. This is it. Um I think I'm going, that's going to make a difference. Yeah, how I see things here. And then drop it down some, drop it down some over here. Don't want you to pop out. All right. There we are. So, testimony time. Who knows? Podcast by A Alwonza. So, this is my first, first published book right here, and it is titled Before I Was Free. So, this is a type of testimonial book. It was before I knew who I was, it was who I came to be with. Um, when God called me, and um the author is Latoya and the Voice, because that is my name, as that's my middle name. And the Voice, I had no idea, no earthly idea um at first who the Voice was, who I was talking to. I'd always have a conversation, and sometimes it's like who, not is the voice real. I never even questioned where the voice came from. I just listened to it. It was very prominent, and to me, what I thought and assumed to be audible. It was he was very I just had no problem, no qualms, no nothing going on with who this voice was. But what I didn't call him was God. I just had no idea. So I did not call him God. I did not call him I guess for anything. I just didn't. I was trying to I wish I could just have everything together in one place. I have all these thoughts on how I want things to look, on how I want them to be. And and then and then let's just say and then. So the Voice was with me for as long as I remember. I was like 7. All done? Good job. Here, clean your hands. Here, clean your hands. Come here. So I was about 7, I guess. 7. I don't think I was quite 9 or 9, 7, whatever. I was around that age. And um, the things that were happening in my life, this voice was there, right? And I would just listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. And then it spoke to me. And then I spoke back one day, and I think I was about 7 or so, and I spoke back because I was wondering during that time. I was like in a situation, that's where molestations were going on, and I was just like, and I think that may have been the last one with that individual, but no, I don't know, I can't remember, but anyway, he was there, he was prominent. I just asked myself one day, I just said, why does this keep happening to me? And then I heard the voice just said, because you're marked. And he didn't say where, he didn't say anything. He just said, you're marked. And immediately I just start wiping my forehead. I don't want to be marked. I don't want to be marked. Remove this mark from me. I don't want it. And that is exactly what I said. That's exactly what I done. And years later, as salvation and meeting my man of God, Prophet Hubert Angel, and listen to his teaching. And he goes through and tells us that we are marked as Christians, that we are marked. And the mark on our forehead, the Holy Spirit, and I was like, wow, I had no idea back then. But since then, my life did change some, drastically. When I would speak, I knew things would happen. And I just be like, wow, I said that and it happened. And I'm so happy. Like when it was time to go to that family member's house one evening, I was like, man, I really don't want to go over there. Like my mom's like, oh yeah, we're going over there. You guys are going to spend the night and hang out and stuff. And I was just like, God, I really don't want to go over there. And I wasn't even using the terminology of God, of course, at that time. I just said it to myself. I really didn't want to go over there because I knew what was going to happen. And so during that time, exactly when it was time to go, we did not go. My mom came back and said, we're not going. And I was just like, oh, and it was like, they're coming over here. And then you will believe this. Like I'll say, believe it or not, like most people, like, no, it was so real. It was so real that the older adult, the family member I wasn't over at his house, so he could be able to, so the molestation is going to occur there. But lo and behold, that thing just worked its way down, and then it was just moving through the family. And then when the children came over, it was like, let's all do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I'm just over this sex thing. I didn't even know what it was called. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the terminology or anything, but I was so over it. So I just knew within myself, it was just not going to happen again. I really believe that was the last time that happened to me with that family. But that was the voice, as far as I remember. That was the one of the first encounters that I had with the voice when I spoke back to it that day, and I was told that I was marked. And so I journal a lot. So this book is written in a sense of journaling. So it was written in a sense of the journal. And I chose the cover of this lady. She is free. She is in the air. She is just, her hair is on fire. It is red. And I even put that in there. I said, her hair is on fire. Her silhouette is captured by her garment. She went up, had to come down. Total freedom. In the air without any resistance. Straight hair, straight arms, straight legs, concave torso. Lord, take me, all of me, as I free fall for you. No fear, complete trust, free falling, freedom. And I had the title of this book before I had the photo. And when I saw this photo, I saw perfection and total freedom. So that right there is just about the cover. And that is something that I wrote. So then this was 2019, you guys. And again, I did my dedication and I did my introduction, my journaling, how the voice and I would have conversations over and over and over. I just continued. I asked questions. I talked to him daily, hourly, minutely, like all the time. Then I summed it up from birth to 12 years old. Like that was that was interesting time. Then I go on with 12 years of age to 14 years of age. Those couple of years, these things, you move on, and sometimes you actually forget some things. I never have forgotten. But I have all is forgiven. That is for sure. Made it through the ninth grade. Lord God, glory. Then I did 15 to 19 years of age. So yeah, so the book is I think I'm going to put it in digital format. I think I'm going to put it in digital. 19 to 20, 20, yeah, to 24, 24 to 26. Um of the ages 26 to 27, God answered my prayers. 37 to 39 years old. I tell you, the voice, me and the voice were hanging out. So and the end of it is when the voice is like I meet him in person. And it says, and I end it like this. And then June 2016 came. He asked me to go AWOL, to leave my job, to walk away from the military, and I did it. My goodness. And I did it. And I did it. And one day I'll talk about that because I still have it written. Maybe I'll write it. Maybe I'll do a weekly session about it. And maybe, yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. Hi, Tan. You see you over. Hi, thanks for commenting. How are you? So that is who I am. So this book was my first book, and I think I'm going to put it in e format. I think I'm going to put it on my website and put it into e format. But after that, or during those times, I'm going to summarize and my testimonies. So in this podcast, who knows, I am going to talk about the pimp I had. I am going to talk about my identity issues with anorexic, vegetarian, and even surgery. I am going to talk about alcoholism and nicotine, chain smoking, whatever, being a lesbian, and tattoos, and the gateway to all of that. So, those are the things that I will be talking about in this book. I did briefly mention the molestation that I didn't talk about too deep in this book, but that was something as a testimony as well. I was totally, it didn't matter where I was, what side of the country I was on. It was like the molesters found me. And it was just the worst time ever. I never liked it, and I just never said anything. I was one of those silent people, never said anything. And I don't even remember if any of the molesters ever said don't say anything. I don't remember. But for some reason, I was that little person, that little child who never spoke up. I blamed my parents. I blamed the adults around me, my grandmother. I just blame them. Like, how do you not know this is going on, and why are you continuing, and why are you letting it? And then that is when it was revealed unto me. I did not per se hear a voice during that, at that moment. I was even younger than 7 years old. And I was in California, and I did not per se have a voice, but my eyes were open, and I saw, it was revealed to me that my family was aware of it, because when the molester called the little children unto him, the little girls, they saw it and they did nothing about it. And then when he was calling me one day, I was like, no, I'm not coming. And I was watching, and I looked at the adults like, somebody stop me, I want to stay outside and play. Somebody stop him. And when I looked and saw this family member looking and observing everything, I realized then that that was just, I just went with the older gentleman, and just had his way. And I just knew when he was done, then I can go back outside and play. And just then, just talking about the smells and the odors just came back. Like, some smells and odors are just like tied to that situation and that time in my life, which was like the worst ever, right? Like, who wants to deal with those things? So that was a molestation. And then we moved, or we were living now on the East Coast in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And another one there, another family member there. And I was just like, Lord, is this ever going to end? And that is when that voice became more of an it was a I began to see what I say not happen. That's when those things started to happen. When I realized, like, hey, I said that and it happened. It came to pass. Like, I was a little girl, but these are things that were happening. I was like, I'm so happy. But then the things used to shift. So when that one went away, then another family friend or friend showed up in the molestations again. So it was like, even though it was like changing faces, and I was the common denominator. So that went all the way up until I was pregnant with my daughter, and I got pregnant at 15 and had her at 16. And so I knew then, when I was pregnant, I told myself nobody else would ever touch me again without my consent. Like, I will never let anybody else touch me again. Like, I will have control. I will say yes or no. Like, nobody's going to touch me again, and I don't want them to. So I knew then, like, when I just got a boldness and a strength that nobody else was going to touch me again. And I really believe it was my daughter speaking from within, because I'm like, good God, like, I'm over it. No more already. Right. So I had her. Life goes on. Um, Marriage hasn't never been something that I've been successful at. I have many under my belt, and we'll just leave that at that. So as time goes on, married, have my son, divorce, then marriage again. But during that time, I was also going to church. It was a church in the neighborhood. It was where my mom was going, where we grew up in. So I was going to church there as well. Then I decided I was just going to stop going to church. Like, I'm just going to stop going to church. Just like, I just want to do other things. I just felt like during that time, I felt like when I first became aware of who God was, meaning going to church, reading the Bible, Jesus is real, I really was like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. I was on the train station, in the train stations, riding the trains, public transportation. The blessings were coming, and the life was good to what I knew it to be. And it was 6 days a week at church. And then I was working at the church, and they were 12-hour days, and I had a 2-hour commute. So I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm home at 7 and in bed by 8, 9 o'clock to do the same thing the next day, dressing the children on the train. So it was a very, very taxing. And one day I just shut down and just said, I'm done with it. Forget it. So in that mindset, when I knew that my son, there were many benefits working at the church as well. My children were going there. They were taught, and I was a teacher there, and I really loved teaching. I love that with every bone fiber in me. I love teaching, rightfully so. Right. Then in my calling as a pastor. Right. So I taught the little children. And I did that for about 5 years, and then I just walked away from it. I dropped everything. My son when he went to public school, when I put him in public school, because it was um, a private Christian center. So I was like, okay, when he's done here, he's going to go into public school, and then I'm going to leave. So I did that. I walked away from everything. I just walked away from that. And that is when I picked up prostitution. So I know I needed money. I know I was good at it. I was been through it enough. So I had already disassociated myself, and and so I'm trying to, where's my mouse at? So yeah, so when that was so I was like, okay, I went into prostitution. It was a way to make money. It was the first job I had. Yes, prostitution was the first job that I had, and I managed it well. I did it well. When my children were at school is when I was working, and I worked from 7 to 3 were my business hours. Is what I would do, right? Or 8 to 2, and things like that. So I did a lot of lunchtime jobs, you know. And it was something I didn't even have to advertise, because I didn't know the spiritual realm then, but the spiritual realm in its sense was, it already knew what I was out there, that I was that type of person, and that spirit was just, it just knew it, and I didn't have to advertise. It was, oh, the men just presented themselves, and the exchange of communication, and then the services, payment, life goes on. So I drop the children off at school, I go do what I do, I get the numbers, meetups, and do everything, and then I actually go and be back by home by the time they get home. So that is exactly how I ran that first business. And I did that for a couple of years. It was way longer. When I thought I walked away from it, I actually didn't. It just showed up another way, but I was still that prostitute. So it was very lucrative. I did not have to work. I didn't have to do anything. I just, well, other than the provide the services. And that is exactly what I did. I met a lot of people along the way. I built a lot of different relationships. I became callous and hard to feelings, emotions. I turned off any sensitivities to any touch or anything that would a stimulant to the body of affection or love. I never really felt that from a man. So I'm just like, all I associated with was sex. And so I was very numb and dead to a lot of to my genital area, to any areas of arousal. That was just, it was just, it was just, to me, it was just a hole. And that is exactly what it was used for. It was just a hole. And so during that time, I was in what I thought was a three. Well, I assumed I thought was a relationship, but it was a relationship as convenience. And I realized that services that I provided, thinking I was in a relationship, meaning everything was free. And that is not, that was a 3-year long free. And I'm like, hold up. I did things that, I was exposed to things and picked up things and started moving on to different things, became gateways simply. And I'm like, Lord, and I'm thinking, like, I didn't even get paid for that, And then you just walk away and go marry somebody else. And I've been toiling with you for 3 years. So, of course, then I just was like, well, I'm not wife material, I guess. I never really thought about it much then, not even thinking about marriage until he told me he's getting married. And I'm like, well, when did you have time to date? And when were you over there? And when were you doing all this? But, I was doing the same thing and I wasn't getting caught. But then when he decided to confess his and he's marrying somebody, I felt like, wow, I felt cheated and everything else. But then I couldn't. I had to suck those feelings in, because I'm like, I wasn't, because I was doing the same thing. I was still working. I was still prostituting, saying that I was with this gentleman for all these years. And then during that time, that prostitution and everything, I was exposed to females. And it was a lot of porn watching and everything. And that was part of molestation, that the molesters will put this porn on. So from a very young girl, I was always just watching porn or something with these gentlemen, these men or whatever. So those images and things. And then I began to study my business and do my business well, and learn from what I had been watching, learn what I had seen. I had even, gotten it, just a lot of porn, no matter how you can watch it and get it. That was at that time, internet was coming in strong, and so you just finding everything you can online. And so I worked my business, I studied my business. It was just a business, it was already nonchalant, so it was just a whole, and that was it. So during that time, I exposed to women, and it was something that I actually began to desire and take to. And so then when he decided to leave me, I kept going on doing what I was doing, the prostitution. I had doctors, businessmen with the travel, and it was just what models, high price hoes do now, or been doing forever. It's nothing new under the sun. So yes, I had those opportunities and I did take part in some of them. And then it was the money began to speak, and it was just like, I just can't walk away, like I just can't get rid of that income right now. I didn't want to, because I didn't have a way to replace it. So it became easier to walk away. um but during that time, I just had the same ones. I just stuck with the same one. They were high paying, they were benefits with it, there were no fusses, they had relationships, they had marriages, children, been in their house, big these things, and these the conveniences. So that is that was the prostitution. And then I met a pimp, or a pimp met me, and I had no idea. When this pimp stepped into my life, my whole entire life changed. Being My whole atmosphere, my whole thinking, my business. Oh, so introduction to the pimp was a game changer for me, because then I was handling everything and doing everything on my own, right? So when I ran up on this pimp, or this pimp found me, this pimp I allowed into my life, I did not know he was a pimp. It was very subtle, it was very whatever. It wasn't even a lot of sex. It wasn't like sexual. It was just my beauty had attracted him, and it wasn't about this is what I see at the beginning. Now, this is not what happened at the end. I'm telling it from the beginning. So my beauty attracted him, and it wasn't sexual. It wasn't a lot of sex. It wasn't just like a relationship, is what I again thought I was getting into, a relationship. And so I did. And then he didn't know that I was already had clients and prostitute. He just thought, okay, a little naive girl. And that was it. So that was his take on the beginning. So he didn't know that I was already out there grinding, doing it myself. And then he slowly introduced me to, because I didn't know what he did. He came with the money, the flair, my goodness. So the shifting, the money, he would always give me money, and my two children, he would always give me money for them. I like, not money to them, money to me to give to them and take care of them, as well as my own personal money. I would just walk into stores. He had connections all over the city, all over Atlanta. He was a third generational pimp. So they had their clubs, they had their girls in these establishments. And I didn't know this until a little bit down the road, but the money, the lifestyle, it was nice. And all I had to do, I was just beautiful. And I was just what he liked, just small, thin, beautiful. I didn't even own a pair of tennis shoes. So I wore and dressed. I walked a certain way. I had that walk about me. I was on cloud nine. You couldn't tell me anything. Many people said I was conceited. Well, I rode that cloud until this day, I guess. I don't know, till I couldn't anymore. But I was really, really um I just knew who I was. I knew I was beautiful. And like then I didn't, it was natural. And that was a lot of attraction to me, because of my natural beauty. I did not need any makeup. I did not wear any makeup. I just wore my red lipstick, and that was it. I did not, I just was just normal, natural, and beautiful. That was it. And that is what I'm grateful for. Amen. And so that made the business easy. But then I attracted this gentleman, and he brought the money, he brought the lifestyle. All I had to do, he was changing my dress, and I did not really like that. And it was the dress of those in the strip clubs and stuff, because I actually went to audition to be on the stage as a stripper. Yes, 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 yes. I did do that as well. So I wanted to take this prostitution, or take this lifestyle. I was going head on into it, and I wanted to do that. So I didn't get it, didn't make it. I actually, it's another story, but So he began to change my style of dress, and he would send me into the shops, and all they know is they be like, "You're so and so girl," and I'd be like, "Yeah." He introduced me to a lot of his friends, his family, and stuff like that. And then so I would just walk in there. He would tell me, call me on the phone, like, "Hey, go over here, go do this." And go in there. He got some new stuff in. I want you to wear it. I want you to. He would dress me. He knew my size. He taught me a lot of feminine things that I did not learn at home from the women in my family. Like, he taught me a lot of things about grooming. This pimp, no, they knew women. He knows women. And so he taught me a lot of those things. And but I didn't like the style of dress that he was taking me to. It was just something about me, like, yeah, I'll just be like a secret prostitute, a secret whore, a secret whatever, but I'm not dressing like them. I don't want to dress like them, right? So I don't want to dress that part. I don't want to advertise like that, right? So I really protested and fought against it, and I was just like, no, 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 no. So I really never so the things that he bought me, he didn't. We just stopped in that area. Like, I'll wear what I have or whatever, but I'm not wearing and dressing those boots and dresses I got to walk around and pull down. Why? What for? So that I didn't even own any pajamas. I didn't have lounging clothes. I didn't have a pair of tennis shoes. I only wore heels. I wore dresses, sundress, whatever. Just wind, like Atlanta, the weather is beautiful. And then I just wore accordingly, right? So I was like, free flowing clothes, nothing like too. I just couldn't do it. So then I was self-conscious. I had identity issues. I was self-conscious about some things, and I was just like, I just don't like the way it looks in certain garments. So I just didn't want to wear it. So, but anyway, time went on. Then he asked me to provide services to one of his friends. And I was like, no, I resisted at first because I'm like, no, you don't. For some reason, it just didn't feel like it was in my commonplace. Even though I did do these services on my terms, I just didn't want someone asking me to do. And he was like, okay, he's going to pay. And I was just like, yeah, but I didn't want that. I was like, okay, I thought I was in a relationship with you. Why would you give me to someone else? These are thoughts I had to myself that I never said aloud. So I went and I performed, did the service and the duties or whatever. And then he paid. And then when I came back, he was like, well, give me the money. Nigga, what? That was a whole game changer for me. Give you my money for what? So I gave him the money. And right then I was like, I got to get up out of this. And that is when the things started to shift and change. He took me and took me into his personal life with his he has a son with the young lady, and he talks to her so rudely, but he pays for everything. That her and her son are living a top-notch life according to what was considered to their liking. Like, he wasn't a broke man by any means. The life, the house, the car, but the rope, no freedom, no no mindset, nothing. Like, she just had to obey. Like, it was just an abuse. And so I saw that and I was like, my God. And I'm standing there looking at him talk to her and carry on, but I'm looking at all of the things and I'm looking at the price to pay to get it. Nigga, no. So that was a turn off. That was another turn off. I was like, I got to get up out of here. And then he took me to his family. He took me to the other men in his family and his father. And where did we rightfully meet? At a strip club. Well, I've been to the strip club before just because that's where he said he worked. And I thought he was a bouncer. He had a lot of clout there, not knowing it was his business, right? So, and the girls belonged to him. So he slowly introduced me to that atmosphere. But then when it was time to meet his family asked me one question. I don't think I ever said anything else to his dad. He asked me, "Who are you?" He said, "Who are you?" Because apparently his son had been talking about me and he had fallen in love with me. And that's when I heard I was a bottom B. I was being groomed and trained to take care of the other women. That's when I found out I was a bottom B, that I was the one that was taking care of the pimp. I found out I was the bottom B. I was the one who the pimp fell in love with, which was an ultimate no-no. And as a third generational pimp, that was a no-no. So I found that out from his father, and he's just like, "Who are you?" So, with that being said, after all I had seen, I was out of there. I didn't care who I was. But once I found out that I was a bottom B being trained to take care of these women, so I was being introduced to them as his main girl, I was like, I didn't even think about, at one time I did think what happened to the other girl, but then I didn't think about it enough because I knew I wasn't going to be in that position. First of all, you're not getting my money. Second of all, I'm not doing this. And guess what? My house, I was in my own house, had my own house, minding my own business, my own driveway, my own car. And so one of the prostitutes, one of the girls, strippers, titles, whatever, one of his girls got pregnant, had a baby. The baby was every bit of a week old. So my children by then were elementary. So anyway, long story short, the girl was now dropped off at my house. No thinking, no thought, no, yes, the phone call, she's on her way, she's coming, and dropped off by his guy who he had me do services for that time. And then he moved in as well. And I didn't know that I was being watched. Y'all, the biggest fear, if I've ever had fear, was the fear from this pimp. I've never known fear, never really cared about a lot of stuff, but that pimp had me running for my money, right? So I was a little afraid. So I went and did the services or whatever. The pimp moved in his go-to guy. He was babysitting me, watching me, my house, my family, my every move. When I would leave, he had people strategically placed in the whole city. Everybody knew him. So many people knew him that when they saw me, knew me, they would report to him, yes, she's over here. Yes, she's doing this. Yes, she's doing that. So where now in the prophetic, God may show the prophet something, but here it is, this guy, he has eyes everywhere. I'm like, good goodness. So he would tell me, oh, you were here, or you were there, or you were there. So then I knew he had eyes on me. So then I had to pay attention, right? Because I was still doing my thing. I was, because I wasn't afraid. I wasn't stopping it. I just was good at what I was doing, which was lying. I was good at what I was doing, which was being secretive and handling business everywhere, right? I didn't care where it was. Well, I did care, but it was bathrooms, hotels, whatever. So their homes, their didn't matter. So anyway, he dropped this woman off with his newborn baby. And guess what? I had to take care of the newborn baby because she had to go back to work. And the baby was a week or less old. And I had to wake up to this crying baby in the middle of the night. What is going on here? I had to feed the baby. I was so done. I was like, oh, I got to get out of this. So I was her transportation. So one time it was time to go pick her up, right? I forgot I had the baby, y'all. I got in my car down my driveway like, oh, I forgot the lady baby. So I had to go back to the house, pick up the baby, and go get the mom, right? That lasted a little while. The other guy was living in another room in my house. So he was always there in and out. He lived there. He had his own key and own access. It had a sliding door and everything. So he had a separate entrance, right? So he did that. And I was well paid and compensated for that. Jesus, I tell you, Lord, the price of money, chasing money. So anyway, that was the pimp. He had guns taller than me, bigger than me. But what broke the straw, and it really I think I believe God stepped in, was when I told him no. He asked me to do something and he told me, and I told him no. That was it. At the end of the day, a week and a half later or so, I walked in the house. He walked in there and he just walked up to me, and his hands is the size of two. So he's big dude, big, solid guy, right? Just a giant height with, I was a little grasshopper in his sight. I was so little. I don't even think I came up to his chest. But anyway, so I was just so tiny and very, very thin and little. So he hit me. I flew across the room. I had no vision. And I tried to open my eyes and I couldn't see anything. And then I blinked a few times and this big solid object was coming towards me. And I was crawling back on my hands, like, oh my goodness, trying to get away until I backed up into a wall and couldn't go anymore. And then he literally, he said, "You never tell me no." And I was like, look, I was thinking, when did I tell him no? I was so in a haze, confused. And then, of course, after that, in the middle of all that confusion, he did whatever. He raped me. He did all kind of stuff that day that I just, to this day, like, Father. And then I actually became I was actually on my cycle too. And then I began and then was pregnant, became pregnant on my cycle. So if you can get pregnant on your cycle, yeah, I did. And so and then I was pregnant, and that man knew within 2 weeks. He said, "You're pregnant." And I was just like, "No, I'm not." By that next month, he just kept saying it. And then by that next month, it was confirmed. And but I knew that time that he hit me, that was it. That rape, that abuse, I just was not taking that. And then it just never it became a stalemate type of relationship, quiet. I just was not the same. My demeanor, my character, everything was changed around him. um where I just held my peace. Not because I didn't want to say nothing. I'm like, "Nah, I had an attitude. I just had an attitude for a long time." And that was it. So I did that, dealt with the pimp, and I was pregnant. And then I opted, and he knew I was pregnant, and he knew when I got an abortion. I scheduled that abortion, went, and when I came, the day I came home, whether he had his eyes on me and saw me come out of that clinic or not, I have no idea. But I know I just wanted to go home and go to sleep. And when I got there, that was ah. So he looked at me and he said, "You had an abortion." I didn't say yes and I didn't say no. Why? I learned. I'll say nothing, right? So I just stood there thinking, what is he gonna do? As I was standing there in front of that closet, and I was just like, what is he gonna do? And at that point, it was just like I didn't care. And that's what broke the pimp, because I was able to abort his baby. He thought he had a hold on me. And I aborted that baby, and he just could not get him. And he only had one. He didn't have one. And he didn't let a lot of women, he'd been with a lot of women, but he did not have babies scattered all over the place. And he was very, very particular in choosing. And apparently he chose me without my consent. And so I was like, nope, I'm good. And I went to sleep and I slept well. And that's when the relationship, he began to dwindle. He became more distant, but also more fear, a lot of fearsome, fearful. He would just show up outside my windows. He would be standing right there. I wake up, or out the my bed was under the window, and there he was. I walk in my room, there he is, standing at the back of my house, staring at my in my room. He was standing outside the door. He was always present. Every time I would get home, he would be there like 5 minutes later. So it really became just threatening, and it was annoying. Um but he finally caught the message and got it, like, this is it, bruh. And then he wanted to remind me of his baby mama and that drama. That I don't care, that is not my life. So that was the story of the pimp, and I walked away. But the fear that was there stayed a long time, because whenever I would see his car or a car or someone like that, him, I would be afraid. I would be scared to, even in my own house, in my own neighborhood, I would just be afraid. I didn't go to the same stores, the shops. Nope, didn't do anything like that. I just withdrew myself. I even withdrew myself from my business. I just kept my same two clients I had. I just kept two clients. And that was it. And then I decided to get in another relationship right after that. I decided to do me. So I decided to go back to school. And in school, I got in another relationship, marriage, and so forth. But yep, so that was that. And then now comes, I don't know, this one is long enough. So I guess maybe I just got the pimp out the system, right? So I guess that was going to be it then, the voice and the pimp. Not going to keep going on and on and on. I wanted to talk about the identity issues and alcoholism, the chain smoking, the lesbianism, or the tattoos. But I guess we'll have to do it another day. But I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you guys for these moments that you tune in and enjoy spend your morning with me. I didn't even drink a lot of coffee thinking about those things, right? My coffee started out so hot like everybody else's. I don't know why I don't just put ice in it. But to end this, God delivered me. God was there with me, and I had no idea. I had no idea, but I know when I look back and I say, Lord, how did the way that I don't even ask God how, but I know the way that I got out of that situation with the pimp was God's hand was there. It took wisdom. And from the moment he hit me, it took between 2 to 3 months for me to get out of that situation with my life. With my life, he was threatening his guns. He had more guns than I could ever imagine. They were all over my home. They were always on his person. They were bigger than me. Have you seen guns like taller than a 5 foot woman? Like I was just over it. I was over it. And he tried to instill that fear. First it was like that love and affection that I thought was real was vetting me, and then it turned into the abuse and the fear that he tried to do to keep me when he know that I was gone. So when I got out of that relationship with the pimp, I look back and I say thank you, God. If I don't thank or remember anything else or thank him another day, look at this baby and her fingernail. She will be a pull her fingernail. So I thank him for getting me out of that situation, because I know where it was going, I know where it was headed. And if I didn't get out when I did, I don't know what it would have been, what I would become, but I know what direction it was going in, but I don't know what I was going to become. I didn't. A full time bottom B who took care of women. And I knew where it was going, but in that process, I didn't know how it was going to affect me. I couldn't see myself in that situation. I couldn't see myself there. So even though I could see where this was taking me, I did not see myself being in there. Do you understand? Like I didn't see myself at the end of that road, but I could see that road, you know? And so, with that being said, that was enough that I knew I had to get off of that road. I did not want to be on that road anymore. And so, with that pimp, I thank God that he got me out. It took 2 months, but it was wisdom. I was silent. I held my peace. I kept my peace. I realized that his eyes were everywhere. He was watching me. I watched my behavior. I watched what I was doing. And then one thing that happened was I was in the car with my mom and my aunt. We were driving down to Mobile to see my family there. And we were talking about different things, men, relationships, perhaps. I don't know. Somehow we got there and I got the wisdom that I need. My aunt told me, you want to stop dealing with a man, you stop taking his money. That was a word straight from God. I don't know my aunt's lifestyle, but I know that that moment, that knowledge got me out of that situation. So when I got back, and he would always bring this money. Lord knows it was wads of money, you guys. He would give it to me without measure, more than I could even go to. It was just a lot of money. And I was never broke, and I was saving it too, you guys. Don't get me wrong. I was keeping that money because he was buying everything and doing everything, right? I would take out the kids, like I was spending the money on them as he would give me some. And then I would do certain things or buy certain things. But you want to know something? I had a lot of sense, and I kept a lot of that money. I kept, oh, if only he knew that I was storing up. So when he began to tell me, because remember, I didn't have a lot of clients and I didn't have that little freedom to go and maintain that clientele. So I kept the three top, there was three top payers, right? I had a multi-business guy. He was all over the world, between Florida, all up the East Coast. I had a doctor. I had a doctor, him, oh, and another business owner. He owned the establishment, a whole strip mall type thing. He owned that. So he owned that whole, you have different stores in there, but he owned the whole property. So I had him. So I had those three guys, and it was good and it was frequent. We had scheduled times every day, same time, or in this place, or meet up here. And it was very nice, and it was in and out, no strings attached. And that is why a couple of the well, they actually fell for me, even though they had relationships. But I didn't bring the drama, and that's why I liked men who had um relationships or other women, because I didn't want the drama. I wanted to go home, mind my own business, and walk away. And because I was so stoic in anything emotional feeling and to tie myself to anybody, it was easy to keep that separation, that embarkation right there. And so when they began to catch feelings, it was time to go, because I was like, no, you have a wife and I will never be that person. You'll never bring me home. And if I'm the other woman, then somebody else will be the other woman. So anyway, so God delivered me from all of that. Even at one point, it took 10, 15, 20 years after that to actually get past the mindset that I am somebody, I am loved, I am wife material, and I can be loved, and I am somebody. I love myself. I am beautiful. I never realized I was beautiful, because I knew I had beauty, but I only used it as a tool and never took it upon myself as with my identity. And that's why I had a lot of identity issues, because I did not see myself the way God created me. And the way that I realized I was beautiful was when my woman of God prophetess met me for the first time, and she looked at me and she said, beauty, this is God's beauty. Beautiful. She just used that word that I heard so many times, but I just never took to heart, never cared about, had identity issues and just everything else. So when she said it to me, it sat in there for a while. It didn't even register for months, and months later, probably even the next year. And I was like, she called me beautiful. She called me beauty. And I began to stand on that word and stand on that word until my identity became what I am and who I am in Christ. And I thank God for that, because before it was just a tool, a token to make money. But so I thank God. So that is where I am now. But God delivered me out of that situation. Took 2 to 3 months to get out of that situation. And so I did abort, and I did keep my mouth closed. I did obey and follow every instruction and every whim, and I knew how to keep him happy. I knew how to make him smile. I knew not how not to cross him. I was walking on pins and needles. I was scared. I was everything. And fear, I'm telling you, will make you obey. I'm telling you, it will. But that's the obedience. I don't want that, that power and control to do that to me. That was the worst feeling ever, and I knew I would never get in that situation again. So, but when God brought me out, that that was something. And I had to disassociate myself with everything. I moved. I did a lot of things to try to get away from all of that. But at the end of the day, I thank God that He delivered me from the pimp. It was him and him alone, and he took care of me and watched over me in that lifestyle. I did some things and ended up in situations that people were like, girl, I wouldn't go with him, or I'd be scared. And I'd be like, I wasn't scared. He wasn't going to do anything. I had no fear. I was just like a naive little child. And I thank God for protecting me during those times and that season and that lifestyle and that just that era of my life. Um, so that there, guys, is going to bring us to the end. I am so grateful and thankful that you stayed on and you tuned in this long. Stay tuned for more. I have many more testimonies, and I'm not done yet. But for some reason, the testimony about the pimp had to be heard and had to be said. So if a pimp is somebody that you are with and you are wanting to get away from, I'm definitely contact me over at Coach Alwonza. You can DM me at Coach Alwonza or Alwonza. Just Google my name and find me and contact me from somewhere. Let us talk. Let us get through it. You can get away with your life. You can. I was with a third generational pimp. I don't know what happened to the girl before me, but what I do know is I got away with my life and I'm still here. God did it for me, and I wasn't even professing him, walking with him. No, if you want deliverance, it is yours. It does not matter. And I'm so grateful that I am here and I am a survivor. I am prepared, no survivor, but if that's the thing, you too can be a survivor, and you can survive walking away from a pimp. You can survive getting out of that lifestyle. You can get to a point where your legs can stay closed. I am telling you, it is a different lifestyle when we're able to make decisions without our legs open. not because of the way we look in our beauty. We don't want to wear the tight, skimpy clothes. We don't want to walk like that or be in those environments anymore. If that is you, please contact me. My name is Alwonza, and God delivered me. He is delivering you right now. So, with that being said, I also have emotions e-course out there if you want to just do some self-help. I do have affirmations that I have written about love and identity and who you are. Like, let me just let me see, it should be here. My affirmations. Look, you are worthy. Look, this is all, these are my books that I have written by Alwonza. And I have one, and it says, "You are worthy," and receive your virtual hug. This is for you. And it is available on my website at coachalwonza.org. But definitely contact me. This is a plea. This is a call to all prostitutes, to all models, high priced hoes, whoever you are. If you want out, contact me. God delivered me, and look at me, and look who I am, and look at what he's done for me. He's cleaned me up. You can Google me everywhere and see that I'm not that person that this testimony was talking about. That's why it's a testimony, and I'm to tell it so it can help you, right? So, you can love again. You can open your heart to receive love. You attract love and positive relationships into your life. That is something that I didn't do. I wasn't doing. And I needed help. And the only help I got was coming and accepting the call of Jesus Christ. That is how I got help. Let me help you. That is what I'm here for. Let me be your mentor and your coach. We can work something out. I'm telling you, if this is your situation, definitely contact me before you do anything, before you make any purchases, before you do anything. On my website at coachalwonza.org, I have an intake form. You can fill out that intake form and send it to me. I will read it and I will reach out to you. Definitely, if you don't want to remain where you are, you can definitely come out of that situation with your life, with your sanity. No fear. I have written a book about fear. I had fear. That was the only fear that I ever remember in my whole life, was with that pimp. The only time I've ever was afraid. Any other time in life, I've just been a naive girl. But I'm telling you, like a little child, you can get away. So I love you. Jesus loves you. My name is Alwonza. Some call me Pastor A, some call me Coach A. Until tomorrow, I love you guys. Alwonza out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And we are ending that. And do 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 do. Yes. So let us come to the end. So goodbye, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Till tomorrow. Bye.